So good morning or good night, depending on where you are, and welcome to another interview of the Shield During Couch. Today, I'm joined by Livio Montarese, and he's the singer and guitarist of the band Fernandhell. And they just
Yes,
put out an EP on September 30th, and we're gonna talk about it and all that stuff. So first of all, Livio, how are you?
I'm really fine. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. So where in Italy are you?
We are in the kind of, like northwest coast. We are in the middle of Pisa and we are kind of, like in a beautiful landscape called Cinque Terre, which is kind of, like pretty famous. And I'm also, like very close to Caramalbo come from. And the town is called Sarzana, which is kind of, like 20 minutes away from La Spezia, where actually, like all the action from.
Okay, yeah, you cut off for just a little, but yeah, I could get the gist of it. Yeah, I went to Italy back in 2006. I would need to
Mhm.
return, but it's a lovely country. The food is good. The people are very happy and like to talk to people. And since I speak Spanish, Italian and Spanish are very alike. So if you speak slowly in Italian,
Yeah.
there's words that you could understand. But if you speak fast, like I speak fast Spanish, we won't understand each other. But yeah, it's a lovely country. So I listened to the EP and I liked it because it sounds a lot like early 90s, like 80s, like alternative rock. I can
Exactly.
tell that you are really influenced by REM. Is that correct?
Well, that's my kind of a obsession. I started listening to REM in the early 90s. And I must admit that, like I never ever, stopped listening to them since then. My first record actually was in 94, and it was not actually, like a contemporary record because, it was Life's Rich Pageant, which came out in mid 80s. And like was kind of, like my main inspiration. My primary inspiration was REM, always me.
Yeah, REM's a great band, and I remember in '94 they released the Monster album with the
Yeah,
What's the Frequency, Kenneth, and obviously
yeah,
Automatic for
yeah,
the People
yeah.
turned 30 like a week ago. Yeah, great albums. It's a shame. I think I know they retired a few years ago. Yeah, but they had some great songs. So yeah, I could tell because I was listening to the playlist that you had on Spotify, and you had like Pixies, Husker Du,
Yeah,
you had like a lot of like Bad Religion, so a lot of
yeah,
bands that I like. So when it came time to do this EP, I know you named it Fernandhell and the Gatten Army. So you were in lockdown, and how many
yeah.
cats were with you?
6.
You had you have 6 cats. Yeah, that's a lot of
It
cats.
was
So
it was yeah. I mean, like it was kind of, like a joint venture between. I had one cat actually. And my wife actually, like she became my wife this year. But like last year, she moved down from Milan to La Spezia, and she had 5 cats.
oh wow, that's a lot of
So
cats.
like we reunite like the all 6 of them, and we basically couldn't do nothing. We couldn't go out. We couldn't go to the restaurant or go to a cinema or go to a concert neither. So we were home, and I had like a lot of ideas because
Okay.
I always played drums, and like when I was playing drums, I let like the other people do the songs, like, and I was like just doing my part inside like someone else's songs. And so I had like these songs coming from the past. Actually, like some of them like are very old. Some riffs, they're kind of 20 years old. That's probably why they come from the 90s, because they are from the 90s.
Wow.
And yeah, I mean, like the the riff from the starting riff from the Invisible Ones. I think that that was kind of like a joke that I was doing with the guitar during rehearsals when I was still playing with the Pee-wees many years ago, and I liked it. I was like, okay, well, let's use it, and and also the thing is, the more I was playing guitar, the more ideas were coming out, and so it was very very short time. All 5 songs came out in a very short period of time. Actually 7 songs, because beside the EP I put out 2 for that, and so those 7 songs came out like in 2 months, something like
Okay.
that.
So do you have any more songs brewing that you will release sometime soon, or are you working on new material?
I got plenty actually. I already have in my mind is thinking about the future, since the time that the EP was coming out, I was like, okay, well, uh, let's think about the next move. So I already have an idea for, because I would love to do an album, even if it's tough time for many reasons. But I already have a potential name for the album. I already have a potential cover for the album. I already have 5-6 songs that I should rehearse with the guys in the next in next weeks. So yeah, I'm keep I'm always productive.
You're always busy. So yeah, the EP, I can get those 90s vibes, and it has some great. I love 99% and Mardi Gras. I think those two are very fun songs. So what was your favorite song to write for this EP, and why?
I think well, I will say that equally emotionally, Marceline and Run Teddy Run, but because those songs are dedicated, one to my wife, so emotionally, those are the songs that I, once the music was finished, and the structure in mind, I really look after every single word. Every single word had an enormous weight, because I was using the right terms, to express how much I do care about those 2 people, and so I think that those 2 songs is compared to good wine. It took time,
Okay.
to deliver, the best possible, So I will put those 2 in the same line, probably.
Nice. Yeah, I'm guessing the one for your wife was Marceline, right?
Yes, exactly.
Marceline. So
But
yeah,
that's not my wife's name, actually.
oh, did you pick that name because it rhymed?
I picked that name from a cartoon. I don't know if you're
Oh,
familiar of Adventure Time.
no,
The,
I don't know it.
well, it's a cartoon that to see years ago, and it's very particular. And one of those characters inside the cartoon was called Marceline. It's kind of this vampire lady, with black hair, and when I started going out with my wife, we started going out, in a very weird time, because we met at the end of 2019, and at early
Oh yeah.
2020 we were all locked. So, and when I started dating with her, I was like, you remind me of a character that my son used to look at, inside the cartoon, which is called
Okay.
Marceline. So I use it as a nickname, and I put that name for to name the song.
Yeah, congrats. So congrats on the and getting married. So living in Italy, where do you go to honeymoon? Because Italy is like a honeymoon destination by itself.
Yeah, well, we went to Sicily. We went to Sicily in we got married on September the 1st, and we went 1 week in Sicily in Pavia area. We went to see the island of Favignana and everything. And actually it was so beautiful, so stunning that I got the inspiration for a song too.
Nice.
Like
Yeah.
I'm just writing about I'm collecting little pieces, kind of composing, a little puzzle of that experience, because everything from going sightseeing to the flavors, to the smell, of the beautiful products, and the salt. There's a lot of salt in the area
Yeah.
also, in the air. Well, that inspired me a lot, to be honest. And also, we choose that destination because still at the time that we decided, okay, we're getting married, we're going to the honeymoon, we were still insecure about the flights are going to be able you to us somewhere, or in this way, we were more secure that the trip was going to happen somehow.
Yeah, that makes sense. Uh, so when you write songs, do you write first like the music, or do you first do the lyrics, or do you do a combination of both?
It depends, because I have my little book. I have a little book where like a scrapbook where I just put some lines down, because probably if it's something, if I hear something, then I just write a line, and then at the end of of the week, or or the day, or depends, I just look at what I wrote, and if there's a good connection, or even if there's not a good connection, but makes sense to me in my mind, then I start thinking about it. Or if I have a riff, like as I told you, the Invisible Ones, I got the riff for forever, and it matched perfectly with something that I wrote. So it's not always a formula. um, like for instance, today I was working, and I heard something very weird at the news. I heard that uh, years ago, we in center of it being a very very bad earthquake, and
Mhm.
in Abruzzo, and and a lot of towns were completely floored, destroyed, and to the ground. So after many years of trial, the judge said today that part is the builders, the constructors fault. Other part is local council responsibility, and some of the guilt is on the people shoulders, citizens shoulders, because they were sleeping. And I was like, no, this is kind of a bad joke, so that
Okay.
really really hurt me so much, that in some ways, it was kind of words coming out of my mind, of my mouth, to write down something. Then I don't know if it's gonna be ending up in a song or whatever, but any kind of thing can inspire you, even if it's a
Yeah.
very bad situation.
Anything that can happen in your daily life, you can take it to inspire songs that you would write. So you talked about REM. What other bands inspired the sound that you like to make, the music?
Well, uh mainly I told it was kind of the bands like Ariane and the Pixies, but I think that I don't really fit that much musically, but I think that I do respect a lot bands like Madonna. And I also had like the chance to work with them for a long time, because I was a promoter for a long time. We actually played with them last Thursday. And even if it musically, like we are kind of like a pretty that don't have like that kind of grungy or psychedelic touch like they have. But their integrity in doing things, they're do it yourself way to to work and produce music and everything around them, it's something that I totally embrace, to be honest. And then like
Nice.
musically, I come also like from a lot of people came to me and say, you remind me a lot of Jawbreaker, and that for me is kind of like one of the biggest compliments I can actually I can actually take.
Yeah, and I didn't know the band that you played in, the Pee-wees, but I listened to some of the songs that you had on the playlist, and yeah, a great band, really alternative 90s. So yeah, I discovered the band. I didn't know them. Uh, so
They're
uh,
actually very good they're doing a lot of things in Spain, actually. Like
oh, nice.
in a short period of time, they came to play a lot of festivals there.
Nice. So how do you feel? Do you feel now differently being more of a solo artist than being in a band? How is it different for you?
Well, when I was playing with the band and under like the name of a full band, probably felt a little more protect in the
Mhm.
beginning, because like when I came out last year, like mainly I was coming out as a joke. I didn't have like any idea of, okay, well, like let's do a proper band, let's go out and play shows, or what, even like let's put out like an EP, even if it's kind of digital at this point. But it was kind of, okay, I'm getting bored, I don't know what to do in my spare time, let's book like a studio, let's play, let's see what happens. And then I started to collect a number of yes from people, and appreciation, and and also some people saying, listen, why don't we play together, why don't we jam together, like, and other people were calling for shows, and so on. I felt a little more in danger, because I thought, well, like I have to take responsibility for all this,
Mhm.
it's all on my shoulders. So if I speak about something, it's not a matter of you like this or you don't like this, because like I totally 100% that like what I write and what I talk about might like or not, is the fact that like in nowadays, express yourself, even if you write something, you sing something, you draw something, you always are exposing like in a word that like it's with a finger in your face. And I feel a little uncomfortable about that, because I think that I have like the right to express myself, without hurting anybody, but I have like I have to express myself, I have to say what I think about, what I feel about,
Of course, that makes sense.
I felt a little, since like this time, all the bands that I was playing with, mainly they were talking about party and rock and roll, and and this kind of things. Other things that I'm talking now are more or less about something different. Also, about parties and stuff, but I can talk about also something different. So I feel more I was feeling more naked about
Okay,
this,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, you're
That,
more
that
vulnerable because you're more expressing yourself and what you want to put out with this band, since
yeah.
it's falls
Also,
more on
like I'm
you.
line now. I was, in the backyard, since then, because being a drummer, like consent you to being the backbone of of the band, like to play hard, like and to be well, like the front man is taking all the responsibility also on the live section, because he's the one, like in front of the people speaking with them, and now I have that role, so it's kind of like pretty
Yeah, yeah. Well, Dave
different.
Grohl did it when he changed from Nirvana to Foo Fighters. He went from being a drummer to being the frontman. So yeah, it
Yeah, well,
can be.
of course, like with the parameters, because like he's kind of like a master player on all aspects, but to be honest with you, like when it was the time that he started the Foo Fighters, I really liked that. I really appreciate what he did, and I also appreciate the fact that he stuck with everything that he did in the past. He didn't change one bit.
No, he didn't do like a reggae record.
Exactly. I mean, like he was actually doing what he always did, and he did it great, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I agree. So Livio, I think the EP is really fun. So I think people that like those bands, the REMs, all the bands that we mentioned, will like this EP. So before I let you go, like if I'm gonna ask you a question, like if you were stuck on an island forever,
Mhm.
which album would you listen to for, like, which would be your essential album, the must have, that you need to have this album forever?
Well, like I was talking about this the other day because we were coming from Bologna doing another concert on the way back home. And since we are playing next December with Nada Surf, which is another band that like I since like 20 years.
Yeah, I
And
remember them, the song Popular. That was like
yeah,
the
yeah,
biggest,
of
the hit
course,
that
of
they had.
course,
Yeah.
of course. Well, I was still in high school when actually I saw them for the first time. And then like after 3-4 years, I became their promoter in Italy, and I got friend with them. And around that time, when I started working with them, they came out with Let Go, which was uh, which was 20 years ago. 20 years ago, in 2002. And I was playing that record for the other guys in the band,
Mm.
uh, in the van, and while we were listening to that record, I was like, man, I cannot stop listening to this record. I will take this record with me on an island. If I had, like to pick up one record, it would be that one. There are plenty, obviously, that like I will keep with me, but that one reminds me of a particular time of my life where actually every single song of that record, it would fit perfectly in any day of that time. It was kind
Nice.
of like the soundtrack of my life of that period. And so
Yeah,
I
nice.
I will I will I will pick up that.
Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, that's good. And when music transports you and reminds you of a time, I'm the same. There's songs that take me back to some memories and things, and I think that makes you connect more with the music. So Livio, I'm gonna show the artwork for the EP that I know
Yeah,
right now people can only, it's only streaming. There's no physical copies.
yeah,
You can stream
yeah.
it. It's on Spotify, it's on Bandcamp, it's on all the socials. So you can go ahead and stream Fernandhell and the Gatten Army. If you like all those bands that we mentioned and 90s sound, you will dig this. So Livio, any last words that you want to say to the people that are watching this video?
Well, I actually, would like to thank a lot of people because, I receive a lot of appreciation and like yourself. And I thank you so much for inviting me for this cool chat. And well, I will see you around. I will try to play as much as possible, and we're gonna have fun.
Nice. So people, go listen to Fernandhell and the EP. It's 5 songs. It's pretty fun, and he has a few other songs on the Spotify, and he has a playlist of music that he likes. So
Yes.
it's always good to listen to music that reminds you of like things that you listened to when you were in high school, at least for me. So
Yeah,
until next
exactly.
time, people, this is
Thank you.
Hector, the Shield doing a couch, and I'll see you all right here on the couch. Thank you and good night.